Greetings, family, and welcome to Live with Shatufa. We are here once again on the gospel platform, the platform for change, and we are never tiring. We still are standing, demanding the freedom of the Zimbabwean people as we see our freedom approaching every day, every night. Exactly what we are anticipating to happen in the near future, in this very season of change, we are seeing the signs every day. SABC has interviewed Tendai Biti over the developments that are happening in Zimbabwe. And Biti is on record saying that Sadc is an old boys club of dying liberation parties that have lost their relevance. And indeed, this, I think, is a correct assertion of exactly what is happening with the Sadc, considering the atrocities that Emmerson Mnangagwa is committing right inside our country, Zimbabwe. It's very sad to find that up to this level, we have continued to see the crackdown on human rights by ZANU-PF and Emmerson Mnangagwa, and yet we still don't hear any comment or any word that is coming from the Sadc bloc. And this on its own yes, presented Sadc in a very bad light to the whole world. We are yet to see how people are continually going to be, talking about this issue, because what is happening in Zimbabwe is just a litmus test of what exactly Sadc represents and what Sadc is. It's like some kind of a referendum of the integrity of Sadc in this region, because already they've shown that they are so weak and they can't stand for anything. And because of that, Sadc has really lost relevance. And I don't think we are going to still have any people that are going to seriously consider Sadc as a force to reckon with when it comes to regional issues and the politics of the region, because they've demonstrated on Zimbabwe, especially on Mnangagwa, that they are so powerless and they are corrupt. They can be bought by money or they can be silenced by whatever it is that Mnangagwa is using to silence them. But it seems like it is really working, because all that they do is continue to circulate letters around, letters that are talking about them continuously, preparing to continue installing Mnangagwa as one of the, as their chairperson. But of course, as we have been saying, family, in all these days that are past, that particularly on this platform, we've been saying, let's forget about this. Let's just let this thing just pass by, and we look forward to the future in terms of wanting to really be pained about what Sadc is going to be doing or things like that. Because one thing that we know is there is no legitimacy of Mnangagwa that will come because Sadc has installed him as a chairperson or whatever. So we can as well just ignore and let them do what they want to do. But our story as Zimbabwean people will not change. We will continue to be standing on one issue, the issue of a free and fair election, and that is not going to be negotiable. We will continue to be standing and to defend. So Tendai Biti has said quite a mouthful. He has explained really to the SABC that what we are seeing happening in Zimbabwe is just that there is impunity in Zimbabwe, and there is dictatorship and dogmatic leadership in Zimbabwe who don't respect the constitution, the rule of law. And he continues to mention that these leaders that are in Sadc, he does not see them ever standing up to challenge the status quo of what is happening in Zimbabwe. And that is a problem that leaves them so much compromised that they can't even know how to come out of this. This is really going to hit so bad on Sadc, very, very bad. If they knew exactly the seed that they are planting today is going to haunt them like nobody's business, they should have stopped this from happening. They should have, nipped it in the bud before it goes out of hand, because we want to see how they are going to be handling other issues. If in the event that same issues happen again in another country, we want to see how they are going to handle it, because it's going to be very difficult for them to treat the same scenario that we have seen in Zimbabwe happening in another country, and they would want to do things in a different manner. They've already set a standard, they've already set a pace, and this pace is going to be a problem for them. It is going to haunt them for as long as they can not even remember. So let's continue to watch and see what exactly is going to be happening. But I would want you to just listen to the words that were said by Tendai Biti. He has said quite very, very important stuff there as he was interviewed by SABC.
To the madness and insanity that is taking place in Zimbabwe, will Cyril Ramaphosa stand up? will Tshisekedi stand up? Will President Nyusi, stand up? President Chakwera stand up? That's the $1 million question.
Will they, in your view?
I don't think so. I can't see Angola, Namibia, Frelimo and Swapo in the ANC standing up to the human rights abuse in Zimbabwe. Liberation movements tend to group together. It's an old boys club of autocrats and dying political parties. The South African election of 29 May shows the future of liberation movements. They are withering and dying a natural death. So they can only resort to violence and power is what ZANU-PF is doing in Zimbabwe.
Before I let you go, then you talk about liberation movements and what is taking place there. Are you saying that it's because they're struggling to find their place and in a modern democracy? Or is there something more when it comes to these liberation movements who we are seeing? It's either they're disintegrating or losing support across the continent.
The liberation movements were never wired to transform. They were excellent delivering the dream of one man, one vote, literally. But beyond that, they had no agenda of transformation. And once the reality catches up with them, the population wakes up, the honeymoon is over, they resort to repression, they resort to violence driven by a culture of impunity and a culture of entitlement and a messianic complex. If we can't have it, no one can have it. In the Solomonic parable of the two women fighting over the baby, the liberation movements are the woman who says, let's cut this baby in half. And that's what you are seeing in Zimbabwe, in Mozambique, and to some extent in South Africa.
Exactly. That's exactly the attitude that Biti is saying here. He could never say it any better, that the liberation parties are onto that kind of character of saying, if we can't have it, let's all lose it. And that's exactly what we are seeing in Zimbabwe, because ZANU-PF is just saying, if we can't have the election, if we can't win the election, if we can't rule over you, then to hell with democracy. Let the country plunge into chaos and anarchy. As long as we are in power, we don't care what may be happening elsewhere. And welfare of the Zimbabwean people. So that is the problem, and that attitude is the attitude that we as the Zimbabwean people are standing up to, and we are saying we are going to fight. We are not going to give up. We are fighting until victory is certain. The season of change has come, and Zimbabwe must be freed. We need new leaders, and definitely new leaders are coming. Thank you so much, family, for joining me on this show. We'll be meeting in the upcoming shows. Remain blessed till we meet again. Shalom and be blessed.